Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Brittany.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Richard Chase, also known as the Sacramento Vampire.
Vampires.
So our meal tonight, we're not doing any actual meal. You'll find out kind of why we're doing smoothies tonight. It's blood orange smoothies and ladyfingers. You ready to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this.
All right, guys. So, Richard Chase was born on May 23rd, 1950 in Sacramento, California. Richard was weird from the beginning. He was a extreme hypochondriac. He would constantly walk around and say that he could feel his heart stopping and just go slower and just stop, randomly. He also was very adamant that somebody had stolen his pulmonary artery, which I don't know if you guys are aware of anything about anatomy, but if you didn't have your pulmonary artery, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
Within seconds, probably. So there's that. He also insisted that he was growing bones out of the back of his skull. He shaved his head just so he could keep track of the growth
and the malformation of his skull.
Yeah. He also said that his stomach was backwards, and he was constantly complaining about stomach aches and the bones in his head and the fact that his heart stopped. He was just always feeling like he was sick. Well, he also would put oranges on the top of his head because he felt like he was getting the vitamin C through diffusion.
Yeah.
Into his body.
That's not how that works.
Just sitting on the top of his head and letting it soak into his pores.
Nope.
On his scalp.
That's not how it works.
So Richard eventually moved out of his mother's house as a late teenager, early 20s. I'm not exactly sure. But he moved out of her house because he thought that she was poisoning him. This guy was always paranoid that there was something wrong with him, always paranoid that somebody was trying to hurt him. Just an extremely paranoid person. He moved into this apartment with a couple other roommates, and they were immediately like, nah, you are weird. You were always drunk and always drugged up. He was always intoxicated. And they just got tired of it. Eventually they were like, we're going to need you to move out because things are just not working out with you here. And Richard was like, no, fuck you guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in this apartment. So all of his roommates just started moving out, one at a time. And eventually he was left there alone. And this is when he would start to dismember and dissect animals because, he had this apartment
all to himself.
All to himself. He could just do whatever he wanted. So he started doing little anatomy experiments.
Yep.
Cutting up little animals in his house. And he would disembowel the animals and cut out their organs. And he actually started making organ smoothies, which is why we are drinking smoothies tonight. He would cut all these organs up, put them in the blender, and put CocaCola in there. Now, is this Coca-Cola or is this cocaine?
No, it's Coca-Cola.
Okay.
I don't know why he specifically chose Coca-Cola, but he chose that drink, not the drug.
Yes. So he blended the organs up with Coca-Cola in a blender, and that's what he would drink.
It's like a root beer float.
Could you imagine how nasty that probably tasted?
Yeah, gross.
So gross. Raw organs, and I can't even eat cooked organs. Please don't ever suggest liver for this show.
Oh no, I can't ever eat liver.
It's not happening.
Not. Sorry, nope.
So he, at an early age, he also showed the 3 symptoms of the McDonalds Triad, which is the wetting the bed, harming animals, and arson. So he had all 3 of those. His mom was just like, it's okay. We're just gonna...
Nothing's wrong with him.
Nothing's wrong with him. He's a completely normal little boy. Cutting up animals and whatnot. So he was also, like I had mentioned before, he was also a heavy drug user, constantly using drugs. drinking alcohol. He was always intoxicated. So for a short time in 1973, he spent a little bit of time in a psychiatric ward. They determined that nothing was wrong with him, and he was released.
I don't see how that's possible.
Me neither. So in 1976, he was actually involuntarily committed to a mental institution because he had to be hospitalized for injecting rabbit blood into his veins.
And he got, like, blood poisoning.
Yeah, he got a blood poisoning
Yeah.
situation going on because he was killing these rabbits, pulling their blood up into syringes and injecting it like heroin. And he thought that was helping him. He thought that was helping his heart from stopping and shrinking. Like, he thought it was giving him powers. While he was at the mental institution, he broke the neck of 2 birds that he had captured while he was in there and drank the blood in front of other patients and staff. And this is how he got his name, the Sacramento Vampire. And they also started calling him Dracula as well. He was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic in this visit to the psychiatric hospital, and then was released into his mother's custody. His mom decided that it was a good idea to wean him off of his medication because he didn't need it, and allowed him to get his own apartment again.
Like, why? Maybe the mom. There had to have been something wrong with his mom.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, just the fact that she did not think that there was anything wrong with her son at all.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, injecting rabbit blood into your own veins is unacceptable behavior. Okay. So, after he had moved out onto his own and was living in his own apartment again, this is when he started to commit his first acts of murder. His first victim was a man named Ambrose Griffin, who was a 51-year-old father of 2. And he was helping carry groceries inside when Richard basically just did a drive-by shooting on December 29th in 1977. And he was just killed there, and they did not know who it was that did it. There was some eyewitnesses, but nothing that ever linked it to it being Richard Chase. So in January of 1978, Richard tried to enter the home of a woman, but her doors were actually locked, and he later told police that he took locked doors to mean that he was not welcome, and that unlocked doors was an invitation for him to, basically just come inside and do whatever he wanted to do. Like
More vampire stuff, because vampires, they have to be invited into a house before.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good thought. Would you look at that? So I guess the unlocked door is the invitation that a vampire needed. Whatever. Okay. So then he had entered another home, and the doors were unlocked, and there was nobody at this residence. But he entered it and was rifling through like all this couple's things, and the couple actually returned home, but during his pilfering through everything, he decided to urinate and defecate on the clothing and bedding of their infant son, marking his territory. I don't know. I mean, that's what dogs do. Was he pissed off that they had a son? Like, I mean, my cat shits on the floor if she's pissed off, like, I don't understand why he felt the urge to do something like that. So
he didn't really mess with anything else. I mean, he rifled through stuff, but
he didn't take anything.
No, he didn't steal anything. He literally just took a shit on the bed.
And pissed in the clothes. Like, okay. He's a winner. So then we have Teresa Wallen. This is where he committed, basically it was a mass murder that they're calling it, because he killed multiple people in one sitting. And so he broke into Teresa's house. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm actually getting my victims confused here. This is not the one where he did the mass killing. This is another woman who he shot her 3 times and then stabbed her repeatedly while raping her corpse. So necrophilia, which is gross.
Yeah.
Like, that's beyond disgusting to me. Like, I can't wrap my head around somebody having sex with a dead, lifeless body.
At least the body was still a little bit fresh.
Yeah.
And not like these other
warm.
crazies that be fucking
robbing graves and having sex with them.
Yeah.
Like that guy who his wife died of tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept her body and just like made paper mache out of, what is that guy's name?
Shit. Was it in Italy?
I don't know where it was, but yeah, he kept her body because he was super fucking weird and like did like a paper mache thing over her face and kept her body there. And I mean, you can only imagine that he had sex with it. Like, ew. And it started to disintegrate. Like, what? God. So anyways, so she turned out that Teresa was actually 3 months pregnant at the time. So that's super unfortunate. While he was, after he was done raping her corpse, he cut off her nipples, removed multiple organs, and drank her blood. Before he left, he felt the need to shove dog feces down her throat. So when she was found with a mouthful of dog shit. And then 2 days after this murder, hold on just a second, there we go. 2 days after this murder, he purchased puppies from like a neighbor of his, and then he killed them and drank their blood too, and then left their bodies on the doorstep of the neighbor. Like, what the fuck?
Did they have children?
Who?
The neighbors.
I don't know. It didn't say.
Could you imagine like waking up and going outside to play and you just open the door and you see these 2 puppies laying on the stoop of your house?
No. Bloodless.
That's traumatizing.
All right. So, on January 27th, 1978, Richard broke into the home of Evelyn Maroth. Okay. She had several people at her house at that time. A man named Danny Meredith, who was shot first, and then Evelyn's 6-year-old son Jason, and her nephew David. I'm just gonna call him Ferrari because that's what it looks like. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that last name. So he killed them first, and then he entered the bathroom of Evelyn where she was because she had been taking a bath, and he shot her and then dragged her body into the bedroom. He sodomized her and but then like cut her back, like slit her back open, and he was drinking her blood while he was raping her. And just kind of a side note here, when the medical examiner was doing his autopsy, he said that he found an inordinate amount of semen in her rectum. So
he was saving it up for fucking
like
2 weeks.
That's like what I'm wondering. Like, was he not ejaculating like for a long time? Was he raping the body multiple times? And
well, see, he had that disorder where you can only get off when you're doing really fucked up shit. So maybe he couldn't maybe he couldn't ejaculate any other way.
Ugh.
Other than when he was raping a dead body.
Ew, well, it's disgusting. Semen is gross.
Yeah, I agree. Semen is gross.
So after he was done with Evelyn, he so what I read in the I read the Murderpedia article on this, and that goes into a little bit more detail than what the Wikipedia article does, but I can't attest that this is 100% accurate, but it probably is, just how fucked up this guy already is. But he took Danny's body into the bathroom where he cut open the skull and ate his brain matter, which is gross. All of this is disgusting.
First of all,
we know you would eat brain matter.
No, you can't. You can't eat the brains.
Maybe that's what's wrong with him. Maybe he ate, like, animal brains.
That's the only part of the human body that you can't really eat because it gives you that disease. Kuru disease. I looked it up earlier.
Well, maybe that's what was wrong with him.
Maybe.
Okay.
The cannibals in New Guinea have it.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So Richard was actually interrupted during this whole killing, and there was actually a knock on the door, and it actually turned out to be a little girl that was coming over to, like, play with either the nephew or Evelyn's son. I'm not sure which. But Richard stole Danny's wallet and car keys, and he fled, and he actually took David's body with him, which I don't know what his plan was. I don't know if he was saving that for later. I don't know. But he took it with him and he left. So fortunately, Richard did leave, like, basically perfect bloody handprints all throughout the house. So, like, this was not a crime that, like, he, like, was taking his time and cleaning up after himself. Like, he left a ton of forensic evidence behind. So the FBI basically got called in to help with this because they had determined that, like, all of these murders were linked together. And so this was actually right during the time that the behavioral science unit was becoming a thing within the FBI, and then creating, like, criminal profiles for these serial killers. So what the criminal profile that they came up with for Richard was they determined that he would be tall, malnourished, a loner, physically unclean, and that most importantly, he would continue to kill. So kind of very similar to, it kind of reminds me of Richard Ramirez.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, just the whole, I don't know, just very sadistic type. I mean, he
kind of looks
similar to Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, I agree.
So, a few days after the killing of Evelyn and her family, a neighbor contacted the FBI, and she said that she thought that Richard could potentially be the killer. So the police went and tried to contact him. They went to his apartment, knocked on his door, and asked him if they could speak, and he refused. And so, like, the police didn't have any other, like, reason to, like, enter his apartment or anything, so they just basically had to wait for him to come out. And so they just hung out and hid in the hallways until he left, and then that was when they arrested him, and which was about 5 days after the murder of Evelyn and her family.
So we're gonna move on to his trial. So Richard's defense team tried to get the charges brought back down to second-degree murder, which would have given him life in prison instead of being on the the death row situation possibly. And that didn't work. The jury and the judge was like, this guy is a psycho. He's out here making organ smoothies. Like, we cannot have this fool living on this earth anymore. So he, on May 8th in 1979, a jury found him guilty of 6 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to death by the gas chamber. Which, is the gas chamber still a thing now? I don't think it is. I think you can only either get lethal injection or, in some places, you can ask to be hanged.
Yeah, didn't we do a murder about the guy? Never mind. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but there was somebody who requested
Yeah, the one that
to be hanged.
We did one.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Y'all are going to have to tell us who that was. We can't even remember.
Jesus Christ.
God. That was pathetic.
Fuck. Anyway. So I didn't know that you could choose that. I thought nowadays you can only, like, most places will let you do, like, most places will let, like, or you're ordering off a fucking menu. Anyway, I thought they would only let you do lethal injection, and in some cases they allowed you to do the electric chair still.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm going to have to go back and figure out which killer it was that...
I want to say Alan Dodd.
Yeah, I want to say so too. Like, I know that he specifically requested to be put to death, but I can't remember if he requested to be hanged.
Yeah, me neither. I think that's the one, but I can't be sure.
Okay.
So after his sentencing, he continued to be fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and gave interviews where he talked about Nazi UFOs, which, first of all, what does that even mean? What's a Nazi UFO? I know what the two things are separate.
I would assume that it's aliens who are Nazis. I don't know.
Fuck.
The Nazis are aliens, I guess. I don't know.
All right. He said that he did all these killings in order to survive because he was hiding from the Nazi UFOs. He also asked for a radar gun so that he could apprehend the Nazis and make them stand trial for the murders they committed, for the Holocaust. After the interview, he then proceeded to hand the interviewer a handful of macaroni and cheese. Just
pulled it out of his prison pants.
And just plopped it.
And it was just like, I'm being poisoned.
Here you go. I'm being poisoned. And just left it at that.
Oh, gosh.
Fucking Richard Chase.
Okay, so wait. When was he not able to plead insanity? Because,
he was diagnosed.
I know.
Yeah, paranoid schizophrenic. You would think, that's what the defense would go for, but...
So, it just makes me wonder, why... And I understand that this is, 1978, so, the mental health care system, it's not good. It's not good now, but it was terrible then.
Pretty sure they were still doing lobotomies on people in 78.
Right. So, it just makes me wonder, why was he not tried for, or, found not guilty for insanity, and put into a criminally insane institution?
Probably because they were he makes organ smoothies. We got to get him out of here.
Maybe.
Off of the planet.
Yeah.
Send him back to the UFOs with the Nazis because can't be having organ eaters around here.
Yeah.
So anyway, on December 26th, 1980, Richard was actually found dead in his prison cell. He had overdosed on antidepressants that he was being prescribed that he had hoarded over, several weeks. So once again, a murderer that we do a case on, taking the fucking easy way out, decided to take their own lives and not,
it's either
have to go through
suicide or a freaking heart attack.
Right? Every time, suicide or a heart attack. Except Ramirez, he died of
leukemia.
Leukemia
Or lymphoma, something like that,
lymphoma.
some kind of cancer.
But that's very odd that always happens. That's got to be a thing. Serial killers must have something in their DNA that was
make them predisposed to heart attacks, heart failure or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because they have a cold, dead heart to begin with.
Maybe it's divine intervention. You never know. I don't know.
No, I like to believe that.
I don't believe in anything, but just in case, don't be a serial killer and you won't have a fucking heart attack.
Not serial killers are not the only ones who have heart attacks.
I know, but I'm just saying.
So we chose this video tonight because one of our fans, I guess we'll call her that,
subscribers,
she recommended it to us. I had actually never heard of this case before. And then I looked it up and was like, yeah, we gotta do that one. It's been good. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. That's where we are.
Yep.
Happy Christmas. Christmas is like 5 days away.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, and then we'll be done with 2020.
Thank God, because fuck 2020. Actually, some good things have happened to me this year.
You can't complain.
I can't complain.
I know. It's flown by for me. I
It
can't speak
has.
for everybody.
It's flown by.
So but I'm ready for a new year to start.
Mm-hmm. So we won't be back before Christmas, obviously, because it's in 5 days. But I don't know if we're gonna be doing our video before or after New Year's.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think after. It'll be after.
We'll be back in 3 to 4 weeks.
Two weeks.
We'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks, guys.
Whatever. We don't know when we'll be back. We're so unorganized.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Oh well, that's just us.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our video tonight and our organ smoothies and our lady fingers.
Yes. So this has been the Murder Mukbang Show. You kill 'em.
We grill 'em.
Have a great week. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. Okay, bye.